How was the last quarter for you? What worked, what didn't?
So we were short treasuries. That worked really well, especially in the first month. We were short U.S. equities, which worked really well the last 2 months, but pretty terrible in the first month. So basically, we netted out with nothing. We had quite an unvolatile period, actually, because our longs were working when our shorts weren't, and vice versa in the second half. So we muted out pretty much into nothing, which is a little bit better than equity markets over that period.
Absolutely. Kit, does the next quarter look like the last quarter? Is generate the similar sort of return, do you think?
It still looks quite messy. I mean, I think, your point about the trend in volatility picking up, I think is going to bother credit investors. If you have persistently higher volatility, you will see somewhat wider credit spreads, and so that market will adjust. Clients that we have are less enthusiastic about emerging markets than they were on New Year's Day, significantly. So just generally, and I think that's the same story. So, we're all staring, watching tech stocks, trying to understand anything we can about them. But beneath that, there's sort of angst going into Q2.
Kit, I've been looking at the Bloomberg on a cross-asset basis as how yen was not part of the story until roughly, I'm guessing, 10 o'clock yesterday. What are the correlations of those benchmarks we look at on the Bloomberg to when equities go down? Is it tight correlation now, or is the equity market its own tech-influenced beast?
I mean, the equity market's much more affected. So foreign exchange volatility has, barely risen. Dollar-yen, euro-dollar volatility have hardly reacted, and maybe that's why dollar-yen isn't collapsing. Maybe Mr. Kuroda is getting a little bit of help in this. But generally speaking, the kind of, the things that correlate it with a big problem in U.S. equities aren't. So you've had a degree of correlations everywhere collapsing, which I think speaks to a different regime. And then just in this short term, I think other markets unsure really how much to extrapolate what's happening in the tech sector.